Good morning, everybody. We are so excited to be back with you. This is our number 11 of the Shaklee Strategies Forum, and this one is just as wonderful as all the others, and we're going to be talking about putting your passion in its place, and then also hear about a really great rundown of a Discover Shaklee event. So that would be any kind of overview event that you would want to do. Here is our amazing team that works so beautifully to put these things together every week. And my name is Becky Choate. We're thrilled to be led by our Master Coordinator, Barb. And then today on the call, we've got Angie Thomas and Francine Rolling. And also Ashley McDonald is back, which we're thrilled to have her speaking. She's due anytime with her second baby. And so we're thrilled to hear her voice. So for the objectives today, we have a special guest with Susan Knott, and I'm so excited to hear what Susan has to say. I've gotten to peek at her slides, and you are going to be thrilled with just some of the tactical things that she has put down, but also the psychology. When you're inviting people, she has some clever ideas with this Discover Shaklee event, particularly about kind of increasing participation, but also attendance, and then meeting new people. And then we've got Ashley that's going to share later this morning just some thoughts about what attracts people to us and that power of passion and enthusiasm and what that really means. So definitely take notes. I chose that picture on purpose. So take notes. Can I introduce Susan, Barb? Is that okay?
Please, yes, of course.
Oh, I just love Susan. She and I are actually in an accountability group together, and I just learned so much from her. And one of the things I love about Susan is her attention to detail, and she always has a reason about why she does things a certain way. And I get the privilege of kind of hearing that on a weekly basis, and so I love that. Plus, she's delightful and passionate as well. So, Susan, welcome, welcome. We are thrilled to hear about your event.
Thank you, Becky. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great.
I forgot to test you. I'm sorry.
No, I just thought I better make sure first. Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share about my event and how it came to be and what it generated. And basically what happened was we moved into a new neighborhood in the spring, back in March. So I did not know anyone on the street. I met my next door neighbor, who was a lovely young lady, and I would go out on my daily walks and would run into her now and then, and we would chat. And one of those times, I was either wearing my Shaklee tank top or holding a Shaklee water bottle. I don't even remember why or what it was, but she inquired about, oh, you know, what is Shaklee, or is that what you do? So, of course, I gave her a quick little thing of who Shaklee is. She don't believe had heard of them. And I had an event coming up, but she wasn't able to attend. And so she said, you know, I would like to hear more about it. And is this like a party where you have to buy something? I said, nope, I'm absolutely fine. We can sit down for coffee, or we can do an event, and you can invite your friends or whatever. So this is how it came to be. And over the course of time, you know, I really want to stress that I heard what she was saying. She kept stressing to me she just wanted to hear more. You know, she didn't know anything about it and just wanted to hear about it. So I wanted to put some thought into it on what I was going to call it. It wasn't going to be a specific topic. A couple times when I mentioned we could do a family health or a children's health, that didn't seem to jive with her. So I thought, okay, we need to keep it where she just wants to hear about it. So came to be where I called it Discover Shaklee. And 5 neighbors attended. I had not met any of them but Sherry, and she's the one who did the inviting. My goal was to meet new people, develop some good relationships with them while I increase my PV and expand my reach, because at my age, where my youngest is off in college, you know, it's very hard to meet new people. You kind of are in your groove and you know who you know. So I feel like I've been kind of limited. And of course, during the course, of course, my goal is always then to meet people, develop the relationships, and find some new business partners. So I went to work. I thought, okay, she wants to just not feel pushed, but she wants to hear more. And we decided that I would hold the event at my house, since she was going to invite her friends who were the neighbors, so they would, you know, they would feel comfortable coming since it was right next door. And so she didn't have to do any work. And so I got to work. I knew there was so much to share when covering all of Shaklee, since none of them were aware of what Shaklee is, and I had to be very conscious of what I was sharing in my time. So you will find, as I'm about to move on to the next slide, that some of my ideas are from people I've gotten from these training webinars. These are all not brand new things. I have implemented a lot of the training, and some are just some new ideas that came to me as I was going along. So as you can see, I loved the idea that someone shared earlier in the fall about doing a Facebook invite, but it was for an in-home event. So this was not a Facebook event where I was going to be posting constantly. It was just an invite. And I had recently come across a podcast I listened to called Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller. And the title of the podcast was How to Tell People What You Do in 3 Easy Steps. And I thought, gosh, that makes so much sense, not to flood them with all the information. When people say, what do we do? But I figured I could do the same thing with my event. And he said, they will eventually get to hear all the details, like we do 100,000 quality control tests a year, when they come to the event or when they go to your website or when you meet them for coffee. But you want to create a problem, a solution, and a reward. So as you see here, I put every mom wants the best. Oh, by the way, let me just back up real quick. I didn't know these people, so I really thought, what is their problem? I have no idea. So I really had to put some thought into this. And I thought, okay, I know they all live in my neighborhood and have families, right? And we know everyone wants their families healthy. So I thought, okay, that's the problem.
I love that.
I put every mom wants the best for their family, and that includes keeping them as healthy as possible. And then my solution was Shaklee products are safe, effective, and guaranteed. Again, I was following this podcast. Make it simple what the solution is. And then the reward is boosting the health of everyone in your family. So very simple, and it really felt good to me. And so that's how I did it. And then I put join Sherry for an overview, live demonstration. Again, I put a few words in there that would hopefully get interest, the live demonstration and samples and such. And the one thing I want to say was I was also very selective with my posts. It says in the event, but this wasn't an event, in the invite, because since this was not an event and it was just an invite, they were going to come to my event to hear all the information. So I wanted to be very careful that I didn't push them away with too much information before they ever came, and wanted to create an interest where they wanted to come with questions and hear more. So I was very intentional with that. I decided to, she and I had chatted about 3 weeks before the actual date, and I waited until 2 weeks before the event to get it set. I just felt 3 weeks people would forget about it. So I got this set up 2 weeks before the event, and I will tell you, I only did 5 posts up until the event. So again, that was over a 2-week time, since this was just an invite.
Susan, can I ask you a quick question about that?
Yeah.
Because this is what I was thinking in my head. So because these were ladies you did not know, you had this Facebook invite created, and then did Sherry invite or did she tag them? Because you may not have been Facebook friends with them.
Yeah, a good question, and you can go ahead and go on to the next slide, and I will cover that. So so I did the event, which you saw, and then I did my welcome post and pinned it to the top of the page, and then I was set. So then I invited Sherry, and you're right, Becky, I didn't know any of them, so I couldn't invite them, and Sherry and I had discussed this and how it was going to work beforehand, so I let her know, since I don't know anyone, you will invite. And so what I did was I kind of coached her. I told her once I got the event set and that I invited her, I would send her a text to let her know. Again, she doesn't seem to be on Facebook a lot, and so I knew I needed to really kind of be intentional with making sure we got the word out. So I texted her and said, hey, I got it all set, I invited you, and then I coached her. I said, now just go ahead and do the same thing I'm doing to you. Invite who you're inviting, the neighbors and friends, and then, she sees them at the bus stop and stuff, let them know, or text them and let them know, so they be sure to get on and look at their notifications. And the reason why I say that is kind of how we text to let people know, is because I don't feel Facebook does a good job notifying you when you're invited to an event and highlighting it. I just feel like it should be brighter and more obvious. So she then did the inviting and did the talking to them, because I didn't even know I didn't know them.
Right.
So we can go on to the next slide. And that one, that was just, my next post was a Shaklee Difference post with video. So we can go ahead and click through that. But another real quick thing is I do like to make sure with almost all of my posts that I have a graphic or an image that goes with it, it's just eye-catching, I think, and people just don't see all these words. They see some graphic that might draw them to want to read the words. So I always like to put, whether it's a video, a graphic, or an image, or even a poll, which is what I did next. So then on this post, there was a couple of posts that I decided I need to tag them all in it. Again, I don't know them. I don't know how often they're on Facebook, and they're still not going to get great notifications from Facebook. So I tagged the ones who had already said, I think who had replied coming or in a maybe, and I decided to create a poll to get some interaction and excitement. So, you see here I put, hey ladies, looking forward to having you here Tuesday to help me prepare. I would love your help. And it's very simple how to create a poll. You just click the button on the Facebook thing, create a poll, and you put the question.
There you go.
Yeah, you put the question and you put your options. And, I put in 10 different flavor smoothies. I just, I not made up, but, all these different ones we've all created, right? And I said, please click your top 2 or 3 favorite. Then I decided, I'm going to let them know what's coming tomorrow to create some anticipation. And I said, be sure and check back here tomorrow to see how you can win a free product.
Nice.
So,
brilliant. This is brilliant.
Oh, thank you. So this whole time I'm hoping I get people here and I'm hoping it works. So then we can go on to the next post, which I won't go through all of these bullet points. My incentive was to fill out the health print. Again, I tagged everyone. But I want you to see, let's see, down at the bottom. Yeah, down at the bottom where I made sure I put fill this out prior to Tuesday's event, and you will be entered into a raffle for a free product. And then I made sure I let them know, see the comments of this post for the details of the product in the photos. So again, kind of walking them through. You're just kind of constantly walking them through the next step. So we can go ahead and click to the next one. And so what I did in the comments was, first I just put a photo of Nature Bright and put Nature Bright, what is it, laundry booster and stain remover. Just that was it. The picture, here's the free product. And then the next post, next thing I put in the comments was a picture of my daughter's before and after shorts to show, how it works. And again, as I was thinking about what am I going to choose for a free raffle prize, I don't really know. I want to keep it within a certain budget. And I thought, what? They're all moms. They all do laundry. So I was trying again. I really was putting thought into what would be exciting to them and what do they think would be a helpful product to get for free. So that's where I was with that.
Great
then we can go on
photos.
to the next post. And then this was the day before the reminder post. Again, I tagged everyone. Just a reminder, come hungry. I'm going to have some samples. And don't forget to fill out the health print in order to win the raffle prize. And then I decided, I couldn't remember if I had put it, but I thought you wanted to let them all know you have to be present to win. So anyhow.
How many people did fill out? Did most people fill out the health print then, Susan?
Thank you for asking. I just realized I forgot to cover that. So after I posted that health print and then posted the pictures of the product, do you know, and that was it. I just tagged them and that was it. I went out on a walk. I came home, checked my email, and in less than an hour, 3 of the 4 people had already filled out the health print.
Wow.
Wow.
That is awesome.
And I highly think that it had more to do with the free product than with just, hey, here's the health print stuff. Because I just think that's what it was. But and then it kind of in the comments, I got some excitement going. One of the neighbors said, okay, done. She commented done, did mine, because I thought, okay, she likes free products. And then another neighbor said, oh, I just did mine. And then they kind of had some fun banter back and forth about who was going to win. It was kind of fun. So yeah. Anyhow, sorry about that. I just realized I hadn't
that's fine.
covered that. Okay, so then the next post was basically, this was my preparation. I don't have to go through all the bullet points, but what I made the protein balls and bars and the tea and etc. But I did go around the table and put a product guide at each seat. And I also had a folder at each seat with info that I thought was relevant. The documents I put in the folder were the recipes for the protein balls and bar recipes. I knew people always ask for those, so I did that. The Shaklee Difference pamphlet, that neat little square green one that I think is so good. A newsletter, I order Shades newsletters some of the time, and I put that in there. And then I thought, okay, they're moms, we all can be stressed, and I did. So I had a stressed for the holidays document that also has testimonies on it, and I put that in there. Also along with the list of free membership. So they had all that at their seat.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then the next one, this is my event agenda and outline. And I had to be very, because I had to share so much, and I didn't know anyone, but there was so much to share. I also knew these moms had kids getting off the bus at 2:30 or had to leave to go pick up their kids. So I knew I had to keep the momentum, the flow going, and I couldn't let it just kind of be a super relaxed, So it was important to stay on track. So in the beginning, when everyone got there, I was making live shake samples, and we discussed, or in the conversation, the product line, how it burns fat, not methyl, etc. No artificial flavors and sweeteners and all of that, and the bullet points that I wanted to make sure that I wanted them to know about. And then before I had everyone sit down to take a seat, I thought, let's do the drawing for the raffle, because that's what got them there, and that was the excitement. So I felt that was important to do that in the beginning. So we did that and got that out of the way, and then we sat down at the table, and I just had them go around and quickly share who they were or how many kids they were, whatever they wanted to share. They all knew each other again. So there was a lot of chatter when they all first got there, so I thought I need to keep this going, because they were just all catching up with each other. So then, before I got to me, I wanted to make sure I made the point that Jean Zabinden and I, since now that she's doing Shaklee full-time, we'll meet for coffee once in a while, and we had thought whenever we can, we would try and support each other when we have events, just because it's nice, not necessarily, we weren't presenting together for this type of thing, it's just to be an extra Shaklee support. So Jean nicely came and attended, and of course helped me out as I'm trying to gather all the women and make the shakes and the tea and stuff. That she was great. But so she also, before it got to me, was able to share her story, how she had earned the trip, and then how her husband said, you should quit your full-time job. So that was just a great, subtle, somebody else with Shaklee sharing their story. And then I shared my story, which, briefly with my kids being young, then the economy, and Riley, my son, and I getting off our allergy meds, all the important things, briefly, but that I thought were key points. Our health turned around, the freedom and flexibility I have, and then the community of people that we all love, and a purpose I have found in my life. So I wanted to make sure I got that message across. And then I decided I was going to share one of the Shaklee videos, and I think the new one, How the Shaklee Business Works, was a great one. And I just let them know. A lot of times I do this at the end of an event, but I want to get this out here now, so in case as I'm going through the event, there's anything that makes you curious and you want to hear more, we can talk about it. So I would highly recommend also, if you're doing an event like this, or any time you're doing an event, if there is an upcoming local event, have some type of flyer printed out, and that's what I did, since we had a Super Saturday coming up in a couple weeks, and I think Pam Carey, thankfully, had done a great flyer, or somebody, and so I printed that out, and that wasn't something I put in their folder. There was a couple of documents that I had, and I handed to them because I wanted to make sure they saw it and we talked about it, and so that's what I did with the Saturday flyer. And wanted, again, I kind of stressed, if there's anything that sparks your interest, this is a great opportunity coming up, casual, for you to evaluate, and you could be my guest. So that was after the Shaklee video. So then what's next? So before we got to the actual sitting at the product guide, and I didn't want to feel like I'm just talking at them all the time, something I've done the last few events that I've had is done an icebreaker trivia. And
Genius.
And what I've done with this is I just decide, depending on the topic of my event, what questions I'm going to do. So, in my last couple events, they've been women's wellness, so they were all on women's wellness, right? But this one was such a broad one, and I wanted to think about some questions that would relate to something I'm sharing later. So, and I wanted to
click to those right now.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Go ahead and click to that. And so what I did was, of course, they have kids, and I thought they all have kids, and I want to talk about the brain, the kid's brain, because there's so much ADD and all that going around these days. And so the main age of brain growth in children was 3. And I will tell you the questions, when I said the question, I just tell them, just shout out your answers. Again, this is relaxed and fun. Shout out your answers, and then whoever would guess the right answer, when I would just toss them a vitalizer strip. That was it. We weren't talking about it or expanding on it, but I would toss it to them.
Clever.
And then we kind of had some fun with it, because I also felt like, I think the question, what is the leading cause of death in women? I'm like, I don't want to be a downer, but, and so they were all kind of laughing. Like, I thought this was about health and wellness, They kind of had fun with me, even though they, making fun of me, even though they didn't know me. And so you got to laugh at yourself, because I kind of thought, oh gosh, but it is so relevant. And then the other thing that kind of just created some fun and laughter is my intention was to try and bring up something about asthma in kids because it's so
Mm-hmm.
so popular and sadly so popular, and I knew I was going to be talking about the Get Clean products that can make a huge difference. So I had done some quick research and found it was the third ranking cause of hospitalization in children. But I didn't mean for this to be funny, but it was when I said the question, what is the third ranking cause of hospitalization? One of the neighbors said, the third? Like you have to think of the third, not the first and second. So again, I didn't mean for it, but it was quite funny because it took a while to get to asthma. Let me just put it that way, but they did.
They're all guessing.
Yeah, they finally got there, and it just created some fun and relaxation. So, yeah,
that was really a great idea.
Absolutely.
Because what you've done here, Susan, and I love, is that what happens when we do a meeting, we spend so much time thinking about what we're going to say, what we're going to do, what we're going to serve with it. And what you did is you spent time, I mean, you made your outline, but then you spent time looking for ways to interact, to interface, to bring the fun to it. And that's what everybody wants in their life. They don't want another lecture. I just love all these are these great ideas you came up with, and they're brilliant, and they made it fun. That's why you've got so many repeat sales afterwards. Okay, keep going. Okay, this is good. This is good.
No, thank you. That was my goal, was exactly not to just be a lecture to them. So the next one, it's all laid out, was just now time to open the product guide, and those were just bullet points that I wanted to make sure I said since we have so much information to share. So we can go ahead and click through that. Okay, this was really important too. This was great that I could have shared Jean's daughter's story when I would have had Jean not been there because I love it, but I did have Jean share her daughter's story because, again, we can all eat as healthy as possible, and this was a perfect example. Her daughter eating so healthy, off the farm, fresh, in China, and comes home and some blood work's done, and she's deficient in 3 areas. So that's a strong story. I recommend everyone use that story. Really strong when we're talking about supplementation. And then, of course, I just wanted to validate about, moms taking care of yourselves as a priority, and we don't have time to be sick, which they all, of course, are shaking their heads, yes, and the different concerns we all have, and I let them know those are all legitimate concerns, and we need to help each other and take care of them. And then, I also, quickly shared with them how I've really come to understand the importance of brain health. It's just as important as keeping our immune system strong, just because the connection between the gut and brain. And I just felt that was a really strong one to make. Again, with all the stuff with depression, Alzheimer's, focus, ADD, just some points I wanted to make with them. So we can go on to the next slide. And then I do think I had come across listening to Maria Shriver interview someone, and where she said, this person she interviewed said how chronic diseases often begin decades before, and they don't happen overnight. And so I was able to share how prevention is key. Don't wait till you're 50 or 70. Start now when you're in your 30s and stuff. And that way, it's always helpful to cite a third-party source, I feel, and it gives some credibility outside of you.
For sure.
And then the next one, these are just more key points. It's all going to be laid out in the archive, so we don't have to go through all of them. This is just my agenda to make sure I followed it. I had this all printed out next to me so I could follow it. And one thing I will say, as they went through the product guide, the one thing I pointed out to them that they all thought was very interesting were those little boxes on a lot of the product pages of the Shaklee difference. And I pointed that out to them to really show them, look, it's not, it's in each of these products the difference. And that seemed to be like one that they thought, oh, wow, they're going to look at that. So, yeah.
Excellent.
And the next couple of slides.
Susan, our product guide is one of our very best tools we can ever use. And every time they make it, they improve it.
Yes.
And, I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, it's always such an excellent one, but it is such a, like if you need one thing, to be able to do an event, I would say that's a product guide,
Yeah, you're right. Everything's right there. And what I did before the event, so I wouldn't be having to find everything, is I went through with little Post-it tags and tagged every page that I was going to be flipping to, so then I could tell them, oh, go to page this and go to page that. So
there you go.
Yeah, and this is just the NFUSL bullet points. We can click through all of these. Again, it's all going to be laid out. This is just the things that I wanted to touch on, and then the sports nutrition as well. and then the Get Clean Healthy Home one. I will say I was going to do, well, I should say on the Enfusel one, I did do the C+E repair on their hands. I did a little demo with that. And then for the Get Clean one, I was planning on doing the Basic H demo, but we never needed to. They all loved it. I was able to share with that about the exciting the 3 different bottles and what they cost and how wonderful they are. And they were all sold on that. Never even had to get to the demo, and we didn't have time because people started having to get ready to leave. So anyhow, I think 3 or 4, I think 3 or 4 of the 5 bought the Basic H in the spray bottles. Awesome. They loved it. So yeah, then at the end, I then is when I presented Sherry, my neighbor, with her hostess gift. You know, I will tell you, the health print was very helpful because I could use some of that information on deciding what I wanted to give her. You know, and I tried to give her a few select things from different product lines, but I also, and so she was very appreciative, and that was when I was able to kind of quickly let them know if you're interested in hosting an event, and let them know I do different topics. We can put it on the calendar and hostess gifts and referral thank yous. Then I had them refer to the free membership document in the folder. And then I told them my incentive. It was a very simple one, and I liked that it was simple because they had so much information, and then there's 10 ways for free membership, and, and it's just great, but I just needed to keep this simple. And I said, you know, if you want to place an order by tonight, you can get a free bottle of vitamin D3. And I had made sure earlier in my presentation that I covered some of the facts and benefits of vitamin D3 and the statistics of children testing low, so they would understand the value of the free product. Again, I thought that might not excite them. They might not know anything about vitamin D if I don't create some value. So, and I will tell you, as they were all getting up to leave and stuff, and they had to go get to their kids, they said, oh yeah, I definitely want to. Give me a call. And so I said, okay, what's the best time to call you? And most of them actually all of them wanted me to call them that night, except my neighbor. She stayed and placed her order. And I wrote down the time. Some of them said, call me after 9 o'clock. But I could tell that they were excited and they wanted to go back and look at the product guide after they got their kids settled and then place the order. And every one of them placed an order. And my total event PV was 430 PV. Awesome. It increased to about 500 a couple of weeks later when two of them ordered some more things. And I will say this event, I really feel like the goal that I set out was accomplished. I've kind of started to develop a good relationship with them where they're actually answering a phone call or a text and not avoiding me. And they're reaching out to me with questions, and so I know I built some trust with them and some credibility with the company, of course, and the product. So, yeah, it was a success.
I'll say it was a success. Yeah. And, you know, I just want to say a big thank you to Susan and really so many of our guests. They not only do they share their idea, but they share there's a whole package here that Susan has given us. In fact, I got real nervous. I made a note because when she mentioned that idea about stress for the holiday and how she edited the document, I thought, I can see it now, right now. Right. Everyone's going to say, how do we get the stress for the holiday? So, I mean, so we will post it. But I appreciate the brilliance of what you've done here. And thank you for your willingness to share it with the rest of us because you see, we'll be talking about this at the end of the call, but we're in an interesting time of the year where generating PV quickly can be very beneficial right now for a number of the qualifications that are in front of us. And I want you to see, we usually use as a guideline plan for about 250 PV per event. Now, this wasn't gigantic. What were there, 5 folks there? And it generated 500 people. Well, it's probably more than that now because she's gotten repeat sales, but she doubled that. And I think she doubled it because of all the thinking. Now, the next time she does it, she's got her template here. She's got everything ready to roll. And because they had such a great time, she's probably going to get them in the homes of others. So she's got that all figured out. I mean, anyway, I just thank you for this. This was brilliant, and your ideas are terrific, and I'm thrilled. And so that became a really good starting place, because now the rest of our session today, we are turning over to our mother-to-be, Ashley McDonald, whose voice I have not heard yet, and I'm hoping she is. I hear her.
Oh,
Always make me feel better. Okay. And so we've been giving her a little bit of a rest as she prepares for the new arrival, but she was able to get some time for us this morning to tell us a bit about something that she has been reading and wanted to share with us, to give us some insights about our businesses. And so, Ashley, we're going to be talking about Passion Matters.
Absolutely. This is an awesome topic and a very important one as we finish out the year, as we approach the new year, and generally as we sort of sail through life with the ups and downs of business and all the things that come with that. And so I have just really recently acknowledged some things that have changed in my business, and I thought it'd be valuable to share it here. And so we're talking about passion and just how stinking important it is to have a good grip on your passion.
Stinking important. I'm writing that down. Okay.
I am 3 centimeters dilated, so I will try hard not to curse during any contractions.
Don't laugh. Right? All right, we got to get through the session.
So to give you a little bit of a background, I have been in the business for 4 years, as many I'm sure know, and I have been in several different positions when it comes to doing this business. I have done it single, and I put that in quotes because I was dating my husband, but it's listed as single. So I've done it as single. I've done it as a student in grad school. I've done it while building up my private practice as a therapist. I've done it pregnant now twice. I've done it alongside a full-time job. I've done it as a mom, a new mom with a toddler. I'm about to do it with 2 children. I've done it as the only financial provider, so with all of that on me. I've done it traveling full-time, so I feel pretty well-versed in how to do this business from all sorts of walks of life, which is great, but it can also be really trying, and I think that there's a purpose to that. There's a lot that I've been able to take away and share with others because of all that I've done. But I recognized recently that along the way I abandoned my passion. And so this might not pertain to everybody on this webinar, but I'm pretty sure it'll pertain to some people. The idea that you sort of get caught up in the, quote, business aspect of doing this business, right? Where you're doing the PV planning and you're going through the motions and you're doing what you ought to be doing, or maybe you're not because you're burnt out, whatever that might look like. The idea that you've abandoned your passions. And so I'm here to talk about the idea that holding on to your passions throughout life's only to be expected ups and downs is the only way to truly live a life others only dream of. And I always refer to that quote of, an entrepreneur is somebody who does the things that others won't so they can live the life that others can't. And that's true. But what I had recognized was that I definitely was an entrepreneur and I definitely created this successful business. But was I living the life that I wanted to live and the reason why I started this in the first place? Or was I filling in every single empty space with, extra work or things that maybe didn't need to be done? And so I was feeling a little lost in all of that. And I'm very blessed to be surrounded by such extraordinary people. And honestly, I'm grateful for my own attitude and ability to say, hello, something's wrong. I need help. Who's out there? Who can help me? And so I had a lot of people that helped me, but particularly I reached out to Charlene Fike and Doug Fike. And we went out and spent a weekend in D.C. with them. They recently spoke on these webinars about their business and a lot of the training materials that she has. But I recognized that they work. In fact, we had, it was our quote baby moon, so it was just my husband and I. But we had a plan to go to Georgia for our baby moon, and I canceled everything and was like, Jake, we're going to D.C. I have to be around people that are living the life that I want to live right now. Like I need to be around those kind of people. And of course, my husband was very supportive. And it was the perfect opportunity to remember why I started this. So I ask everybody now to take a moment close your eyes and really genuinely do this. Genuinely think back to that moment when you decided to take a leap of faith and build your own Shaklee business. Maybe it was a week ago, maybe it was a few years ago, maybe it was lots of years ago, but why did you do this? This quote, I love this quote, be bold enough to use your voice, brave enough to listen to your heart, and strong enough to live the life you've always imagined. And the reason why I put this quote here is because I absolutely 100% believe that everybody who's on this webinar, everybody who has made the decision to build their own Shaklee business, that leap, that jump, that decision that you made was one of the bravest things you've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to give ourselves credit for that, because not everybody is cut out for taking a leap like this, for deciding that I want to take hold of my life and do more, do different, you know? And so what was your motivation? What was your drive? What did you imagine accomplishing? What were your dreams? What was your why? And what passion ignited you? So I'm talking about, you know, was it helping people? Then that's very general. So I don't want you to think generally. I want you to think very specifically. Very specifically, why did you decide to build a Shaklee business? And maybe it is more so just because you wanted more income, because you didn't want to live a life of paycheck to paycheck. That's okay too. It doesn't have to be this, like, you know, Gandhi approach. You can have any approach that you want, anything that you wanted to accomplish, anything that you wanted to achieve because of this business. And I invite you to think of that. So we started excited, right? We started thrilled and passionate. I mean, I know that I experienced that, but I've also brought so many people into the business where I just see that light, you know, and I remember that moment of just, this is the ticket. Like, you feel like you have the golden ticket, right? I've got the golden ticket. Like, my whole life is going to change. And we've talked about the Shaklee journey and how it's just inevitable that you are going to go through dips in your business and frustrations and rejection, right? That just happens. It's a part of what we do. So much can happen in someone's personal and professional life that can, quote, steal our passion. Finding it, retrieving it, and igniting it is vital. But first, we must acknowledge that it wasn't, in fact, stolen or lost, but that we let it go. Passion is not something that somebody else can take from us. It is only something that we can willingly let go. And so, like many other things in our life, we have to fight for it. I have to fight for my faith every single day. There's just not a light that turns on that makes it natural for me to get up and read the Bible. There's not a light that turns on that makes it natural for me to always think of the positives and the excitings and the, you know, all those I have to fight for that, because life is life, and it's going to come at you, and it's going to scare you, and it's going to make things difficult. So excuses can easily become a way of life. No prospects, not enough people, there's not enough time, I'm afraid of failure, rejection, comparison, oh my goodness. And this has been something I've always struggled with. When you see other people constantly having success and you wonder, like, what am I doing wrong, right? What could I do better? That comparison, instead of embracing what your passion is, remembering why it is that you're doing it, or purely just a lack of commitment, right? So where that passion meets struggle is where we have to fight, because the truth is, the proof of passion is perseverance. Proof that you hold passion is through perseverance. It's not passion if you haven't had to fight for it, right? If you haven't had to hold on to it and really believe with all your heart, because truth be told, if we all started this business and everybody just shot up to the top because it was that easy, it wouldn't exist anymore, because Shaklee would go bankrupt. Like, you just can't have all that, you know? Like, there has to be some fight behind it, but that's what makes it worth it, right? I'm about to deliver a child naturally without medication. There is a lot of fight in that. There is a lot of fight in that. But I am passionate about this baby, and I am passionate about trying to do this without medication to keep him safe, right? So without fight, there's not passion. All struggles are a chance for you to grow your passion, to dig deeper, to believe harder, and quite honestly, to become an expert in what you're passionate about. So those things that I asked you to ask yourself, what is it that really drives you? Why is it that you do what you do? Is become an expert in that. You ought to, right? David Worry, who wrote GoPro, who's an extraordinary network marketer, he decided early on in the game to become a professional network marketer because his passion was in network marketing. He declared it, and he tells in the beginning of his book in GoPro, he says, one day I woke up and decided I want to become a professional. I want to become an expert in network marketing. That's how he became who he is. But we can't, sometimes we find ourselves kind of dipping in all the buckets, right? All the buckets because we're trying to be everybody except for ourselves. Or we're trying to create the business because we're looking more at the monetary or the trips, or instead of remembering what are the things that I'm passionate about. The expert in anything was once a beginner, right? There's nobody that was just born expert, I assure you. So doing it with passion, keeping your eye on your passion throughout all growths in life takes practice. Being grateful, being excited, being brave, doing it with passion, plugging in, investing in your personal and professional development. I cannot emphasize this enough. There is not a time in your life when personal and professional development is not essential. It is, you must be a lifelong learner because there's always so much to learn. And stay connected with people who are doing it too. Passion will move men beyond themselves, beyond their shortcomings, beyond their failures. Because if you have a passion for women's health, hone in on that. Become an expert in that. Because the truth is, if you are just sharing everything sort of logistically, people are going to listen, but to an extent. But if you're sharing one thing enthusiastically with pure passion, everybody's going to listen. It's that draws them in, right? Totally that draws them in. So we went out to D.C., and we spent some time with the Fikes, and Charlene told us all about her Matrix 24, which she did share on a webinar a few weeks ago as well. And I decided, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to start over. I'm going to do Matrix 24 as if I am just brand new to the business, because I just want to do the exercises of like, what's your why? I want to spend that time there. And I think I honestly am having the best time doing that, and I think it's so valuable. If you've been in this business for any amount of time and feel a little passionless, starting over is kind of fun. So when you become fully aware of the passion inside of you, you begin to live a life of purpose and intentionality. So one of the things that Charlene really focuses on, I don't want to take any credit of this and obviously not share too much because it's her training, but she focuses a lot on the idea of there's a reason why you started this business, and it wasn't for it to take over your life. It was for it to fill your life, right? And so when I stepped back and started to do this, one of the coolest things that she has in here is this idea of time blocking. And she really talks about the different percentages of time that you ought to spend in different categories of your business, where time should be spent. Because sometimes that's the question, right? Like, I would feel like I was working all day, but then at the end of the day, it was like, what did I actually accomplish? What did I actually do? Maybe because the computer wasn't working, so when I was creating an image on Canva, it ended up taking an hour and a half, and then nap time was over, and then this, that life that happened. So purpose and passion go hand in hand, and together create a life of fulfillment. So inserting this intentionality into your life. Stop doing work just to work. Hone in on what lifts you up and keeps you authentic, and practice the passion. So this is an example of my actual schedule. This is what my life looks like. And you can see how, now don't take this and just copy it, because everybody's business is a little bit different. This is just to give you an idea. But I decided that I was willing to spend 26 to 30 hours a week working my business right now as the new baby's coming into the world. And I broke that down into 8 hours of preparing, and 6 hours of promoting, and 6 hours of producing, and 6 hours of personal growth. And then I actually did 4 hours of flex time is what I ended up calling it. And these were the things that go into the categories of preparing is weekly planning, creating strategies, creating images, promoting was blogs and emails and Facebook, and producing was customer care and team meetings, and doing this right now. I'm producing because I'm creating a webinar that my team will watch. Personal growth is webinars and podcasts and courses and reading and all that kind of stuff, which again is a category of your business. This does count. This is important. And as you grow in your business, my professional development is less because I'm a little bit more well-versed in network marketing, and my personal development tends to grow because that is what makes a leader, is somebody who can really grow in their personal development. And so then I put it into my days, and I was telling Barb, I have found that it has really set me free. It has really set me free to know when and where my time goes. And what I actually do, so you can see here on Mondays from 9:30 to 11, I spend an hour and a half in the prepare area, networking, conversations, marketing, creating images, creating strategies. Yesterday I did a live video of packing my hospital bag. These kind of things, that's marketing. These kind of things in an hour and a half, I actually set a timer on my phone. And what's funny is I'm the most competitive with myself. And so when I see a clock running, I'm like, I'm going to get so much done. I could not believe the amount of things I got done in an hour and a half that usually would take me a full day because I had that alarm ticking. And then I did an hour of production and producing. And I did those two things. And lo and behold, I finished, I felt accomplished, and I had time to lay down and relax, which never, ever, ever happens. And that is I want the kind of business that allows me to have the kind of pregnancy that I dream of, which is relaxing every day because I am building a human. That's necessary. But also including time for household and bills and all those other things. Those are things that are part of my life and sometimes seem like an extra, but when I started to schedule it, and I don't think it's necessary to schedule specifically, okay, during the hour and a half I'm going to do da-da-da-da-da. I think there's a few things that I have to do, but then what's cool is I've got this list down here. So say I get done at an hour, I finish my to-dos, I have a half hour on my clock, then I look at this list, networking, conversations, schedule posts, and I just start to do extra things in that category. Things that pop into my head, things that are genuine and authentic, right? So
I really like this, Ashley. You're doing such a good job
I do too.
And
it's really cool.
What's interesting about this, Ash, is that it's so intentional. You start the week and you decide where you put your time, and there's something that's so you use the word freeing.
Yes.
Is that when it's down on paper and you can see where the time is going to go, then you're not anxious about it. Then it's like, I made a slide at the end today that says, there's plenty of time for whatever it is that's important to you. There's plenty of time when there is a plan. And that's what you've done here, is you've figured out, as you've been talking, thinking this is a whole session we should do on if you're going to put in 30 hours a week in your Shaklee business, what are the 30 hours? And you've really nailed them here. And I almost think that's a total session we should do about, what happens in those different categories. This is very freeing. I love that you did this. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, and you can see on here all the time with family, where I specifically say I'm not doing anything, right? You can see that the 2 to 4 slot that goes Monday through Friday, that's nap time. So you can see that 3 of those days I'm going to spend an hour of that nap time working. And 2 of those days I'm going to give myself household, like where I can clean up or do laundry or do the extra things that I have in my house. So I know I'm going to have that time so that on Monday, when there's a little bit of a stack up of laundry and my anxiety starts to take over, I can say, it's okay, tomorrow I have scheduled laundry time.
Yeah.
Right, and that is very freeing in and of itself for anybody who has as many responsibilities as moms have. Right, we have a lot on our shoulders.
Love it.
So this kind of goes into planning for the holidays. We are approaching, it's November and December, and it's such a great time, but it's also a time that you do not want to go into unplanned and unprepared because, quite frankly, there are sections of these months where people just aren't available for events, and they're not in town, or they don't really care. They're in different places. And if you wait till the last minute to start putting stuff together and promoting things and inviting people and having conversations, you will regret it. I have been there. I have done it. I know this from experience. So here are some of the ideas that my team and I have put together to have throughout these 2 months. So we actually are running resets before and after, not just Christmas, but the holidays. So we're doing a reset this week. We're also doing a reset after Thanksgiving, and then we'll do one before Christmas and after Christmas. So keeping those going, because as you've heard in other webinars, resets are extraordinary. A Green Friday event, right? We have Black Friday the day after Thanksgiving. We like to call it Green Friday. Christmas shopping extravaganza. This is something that I, in the past, have done as a in-home event, which I think is a really great thing. Again, I'm delivering a child any day now, so I won't be having anybody over for anything like that. And so we're going to do it online. A Christmas shopping extravaganza. We're actually, and I've had so much success with this because I have found that people around the holidays are very tactile, and they want to touch things, and they want to walk away with things, or they just, I don't know what it is, but people are just really not into ordering stuff unless you're Amazon. And so I try to kind of make it a little Amazon-y, where I make an investment, and I actually save for this all year, so I apologize if this is not enough warning for you, but where I make an investment to purchase a handful of products and create, quote, little gift baskets. I use the dollar store, really easy, cheap, do not spend a lot on this kind of stuff, but then I send it out for them. So or I bring it to them. If they're local, that makes it a lot easier, or for my instance, they'll have to come pick it up. But things like we've had like skincare products that has the cleanser, the toner, the moisturizer, and that's a kit. The moisturizing shower gel, hand and body lotion with a loofah, that's a kit. 5-day resets that has been my top selling kit that I've ever put together. And what's cool about that is it only takes 5 strips of vitalizer and then 3 shakes a day for 5 days. So you buy a couple boxes of the proteins and a box of vitalizer, and you use 1 box of vitalizer for 5 reset kits.
Nice.
So then you can charge them something a little bit more reasonable, like $65, where you are charging them exactly for their products, but they're not buying a full vitalizer anymore. So this is really good for new customers. I actually brought in a few distributors last year because of this, because it just seemed like an easier investment for them. You know, $65 for all your meals for 5 days is a pretty good deal. And so putting together little kits, again, things that you're passionate about. Maybe it's the kids kit, maybe, which now we have already put together, but little cute things that you can do. I make protein balls in a jar, and I like to do that as like an incentive for people to purchase. So the first 3 people are getting a free protein ball in a jar. Which basically gives them all the ingredients. They just throw it together, and now they've got protein balls. But that's a huge sale for you because now they're seeing how they can use protein in different ways.
Right.
So just little creative ways that you can get products out there for gifts, because generally people are buying gifts during this time of year. But you want to be proactive. You don't want to do it the week before week before Christmas. That's just not going to work. So all sorts of things. New year, oh my gosh, start thinking about what do you want to launch in the new year in terms of health, right? A lot of people are thinking about their weight and wanting to set New Year's resolutions, and you don't want to hop on that ball when everybody's already chosen what they're going to do. You want to have something put together now that you can start promoting because people are thinking about it. In fact, it's also a great thing for people to ask for gifts. So if you're promoting it wisely, this could be something that women and men are going to their spouses and saying, okay, that's what I want for Christmas. I want to do this challenge. I want to do that. So making sure that your marketing and your promotions are in line with these things in advance. Prevention is key, so immune system, product focuses, all these kind of things, making sure those events are in place is just going to be really important this time of year, making sure that you plan for sure. And then, of course, talking about passion, we have to read this quote because it's one of my favorites. There is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. So have a plan. I thought this was really cute. My husband laughed at me, so I feel like everyone's going to laugh at me, but have a plan, yes, but never forget that PV, which is passion validated. When people order from you, they have validated the passion that you have just invested your life in. It's only accomplished when people believe that we are sharing, believe that we believe in what we are sharing with our whole hearts. Let your passion shine.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that was so good, Ashley. Excellent.
Oh my gosh, but it just is such a reminder. Last week we had the Cubs win the World Series, and I never watch sports, and I never watch baseball, and I never watch the Cubs, but I saw every one of those games, and I was fascinated by exactly what Ashley's been talking about, is that I felt like I knew all those players by the end of that whole session, and there were these critical times, 2 times that I know about, when it appeared that all was lost, and somebody was a voice to those players saying, "Wait a minute, let's think about this." And one of them was when they were down 3-1. You have to win 4 of 7 games in the World Series, and they were down 3 games. They'd only won 1, so they just lost the 4th game. And a few teams have come back, but it's very rare. Mm-hmm. And so they told the story how they all kind of, they knew they felt they'd blown it. They'd blown their chance for the World Series, and most of them were very young. But one of them was old. He was 39. They knew it was going to be his last year. And they all came slumping into the, I don't know, their locker room or something, wherever they go. And and he looked at these young players who were so defeated, and he looked around and he said, "Hey, why are you all hanging your heads?" He said, we have won 102 games. We have many times won 3 games in a row and more. Why can't we do it now? What's it, we can, and it just turned them around. And there was another incident which I won't tell you about, but what Ashley's talking about is every now and then we just have to do that Zig Ziglar thing where he says, pause and do a checkup from the neck up, kind of just see where's our energy, where's our belief, remind ourselves why we're here, what we do. And you know what? Never let yourself get isolated because it loses its fun. I love that you two were paired today with Susan and Ashley. This was just a wonderful session. So this brings us, we have one more session next week before we take our break for the holidays, and we'll be back for 2 sessions in December. But I wanted to, I'm sorry, you can stay on that slide, but I wanted to point it out to you because this time of year is a time to pause. If you are a coordinator, and you were a coordinator by September, then you want to be paying attention to the points that you need to qualify for the Shaklee Dream Trip, which is accumulating 200 points. And those points can be 200 points for one person or 275 points for 2 people. And those points can come from sponsoring. Those points can come from advancing in rank. And those points can come from this new personal group volume and personal group volume plus that they've just introduced, and that's been a little new for us. And one of the reasons this whole fall semester we have been emphasizing product collections and events and ideas, very much like Susan shared today, because any one of them can generate 1,000 PV anytime you need it. Likewise, the new director conference, which is one of the most special events that Shaklee has. There were so many people who qualified for this in the fall, in September, and the company didn't give themselves, and they just weren't prepared for that many people, that they are scheduling the second one much sooner now. It will be in April, so people don't have to wait another whole year to September. However, they realize with so many people, the number of folks who are growing, the number of new directors, now they had the largest one ever in this past fall. They need a little more time to prepare for all those people coming. So the qualifications will end on January 31st. So if you are a new director in your first year, to qualify, accumulate 18,000 PGV in any 6-month period in your first year. That's 3,000 PV a month, right? Mm-hmm. But if your first year has passed, but you're a new Dream Director still, anytime you accumulate 48,000 PGV, which is actually, they call it CV, but I think it's so confusing, but it means PV that you generate from your customers plus any leaders that you've developed, you get credit for all of that over any 12-month period, and you go. And so, again, make a strategy, make a plan, just as Ashley laid out, that what can you do to generate calculate what the PV is that you need by the end of January, and then set up your events. We have a whole batch of them now, 11 sessions we've done to help you generate that whatever you need. But remember, every 4 events is about 1,000 PV, although Susan, hers were 500. And then don't forget, the Chairman's Retreat is one of the most special things that I have attended in all the things I've done in Shaklee. And it's not easy. It needed a lot of PGV, but you know what? Don't write that off, because we don't know if they're going to be anymore. I mean, there's only so many houses the chairman of the board can live in, And so, really look at that and see, could you reach for that? And so, boy, it would be worth it. I mean, I am not big about working for trips, but this would be an exception to that. It's just a very special thing. And then the next slide, I just want to remind you that, repeat after me, no matter what it is that you are looking to do, no matter what your goal is, no matter how much PV you need, remember, there is plenty of time when there is a plan. And so it just takes a little tweak of our attitude. Everything that Ashley was just talking about is just get reconnected to our energy, get reconnected to our purpose, get reconnected to, those of you, I hope you all got to hear Linda Glass's story before we started today, but there are so many people like Linda Glass who for years have worked on their health and are so discouraged and felt that they tried everything and there was nothing left for them, and then they saw a Facebook post, they got invited to an event, and everything changed for them. And Linda got very emotional in sharing her story today, because she felt she got her life back, and we've heard that so many times. So remember, we can be that lifeline for people. So Angie, there's our schedule.
Here is our schedule for the next few weeks. Next week we're going to hear about new directors' takeoff plan, which is a perfect thing to talk about right after they announced the new directors conference being in April, so we've got some things there to talk about. We're going to take a break for Thanksgiving and then have 2 more sessions in December before we have our own little winter break here. So I'm excited about the holidays, and I love that we're able to continue these sessions to keep us active and interested
connected
during the holidays.
And I want to mention, next week is going to be a very we will probably make that a standalone session. This is going to be the session that you will send everybody to after they become a new director. It will tell them, they get, we'll give them 3 days to catch their breath, and then we will send them this webinar, because it will tell them what happens now, what they want to be thinking now, what they want to be doing now, and Harper's going to be leading that. That's going to be really excellent.
That's very cool. I love that idea. As always, we like to share with everybody how to subscribe to the websites where you can get these archived webinars. So you can go to betterfuturestartstoday.com. It's also going to be your Better Health in 31 Days subscription. So all the information is right here. If you need to screenshot that so you can refer back to this, that would be fantastic. And if I just want to say one thing about today's training that I just thought was such a beautiful theme in what Ashley was saying about finding your passion and really coming back to that and sticking to it and sticking to work. That kind of work is what made Susan someone that this woman could approach and say, hey, I see your shirt says Shaklee, what do you do? Not everyone is approachable like that, but Susan had this energy around her because she's really connected to her passion and her why. And same thing with Rebecca when she posted about something on Facebook that Linda saw, and these things being this kind of person is helping our business, but it changes other people's lives. And I just think that's such a neat theme of today's, we really saw that, how beautifully that works in today's stories. So just wanted to share my 2 cents on that, ladies.
Very good. Are there any questions, Becky, we need to field here?
Yeah, I wrote down a few. I'm sorry. I thought this was kind of neat. Linda Harp said that when we laugh, something in our brain opens up and people are able to take in more information. She said that during Susan's presentation and how great that was with her. I just thought that was kind of a neat thing.
That's good.
We did have some questions, Barb, on when on these 5-day resets, like the repackaging that Ashley was talking about, and some of the packages we're putting together. We had some questions on whether or not that was cool with P&R. Like, is that okay to do? Is there an issue with that? It sounds. People said reset kits sound like repackaging, and someone asked, is that okay? Does that go against P&R?
Yes. However, I think the Vitalizer strips are a different story. Because they're already packaged. I mean, the idea is that you're not, shaking your tablets out of bottles and putting them in baggies and that sort of thing. Now, if you know somebody well, we do that all the time. We give people samples of things. But technically, no, that would be, because they'd be worried about contamination, right? Understandably.
Okay, but if we take a lotion and a bar of soap and package it as a Christmas item, that's okay.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
And just use your head, right? Right.
Check your head, folks.
Check your head, right?
No, Ashley, if you're still unmuted, we had a couple questions. What do you do for your Green Friday, and do you actually, does Ashley actually do the shipping on her packages?
This will be the first time I'm not doing a live, in-person event for my shopping extravaganza. So yes, I will be. I'll probably include it a little bit in the pricing that I do or the deals that I decide to do or not do. But typically that's the kind of event I would have in person. So my mom is replicating it from what we did last year, and she's doing a vendor event like we did last year, which was really great, where we partnered with people in other network marketing businesses who don't compete with us. So like LuLaRoe or in sort of jewelry business or just other businesses that don't necessarily compete, and you get together and you either pick a house to do it at or you pick a venue and you each have a table and people get to come get all their shopping done in one place. But again, that's why I focus kind of on having some products there for people to walk away with, because that's usually much more motivating than, okay, I need you to order this, and then you have to wait for it to get to your house. And so for those instances, I basically pay the shipping up front for the entire order that I make, and then I don't charge for shipping at all. I just charge for the actual product value that they would pay if they were ordering it themselves.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Next week, if Susan has a chance to pull it together in the pre-call, we're going to have her share an idea very similar to what Ashley just described, only she's created it in a Facebook event with other vendors. It's very, very clever. So when she gets the details worked out on it, we'll have her share that, because it would work for people having a baby. It'd be good for that. But we'll bring it to you next week.
Someone was asking what time we start the pre-call. It's depending on your time zone. If you're Central Time Zone, it starts pretty much on the dot at 8:45 a.m. So depending on Central. Sorry, I didn't say that time. So yeah, just 15 minutes before, and that always has great information and sometimes Facebook tips and all that. So many just really wonderful words that people are saying too for Ashley and Susan, and just really appreciate you all, and Linda as well. Thank you so much for sharing your hearts and just kind of your stories with us. So it's wonderful.
Great session today. Thank you all. So we'll see you next week when Harper comes and gives us a walkthrough of what we do with our new directors, and so they know step by step. And those of us who are directors, I have this feeling there might be some things in there that we will want to do. So don't have to be new to do those things. Anyway, we'll see you all next week, and yes, we will ask Susan to attach her documents for you, so you'll all have. Don't fuck the poor woman. Okay, and we'll get that to you too. So thanks everybody. Thanks training team today. It was really lovely.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Let's go ahead and get started this morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am I am so excited that I got to share these slides with you because I'm really, I think for the years I've been here, this is one of my most favorite promotions that Shaklee's put out. Not only because it's about kids, or one of them is about kids, but because it's the price point for taking advantage of this special is so much lower than normal. You know, we all know that recently it's been a lot of like $200, you get free shipping. This is $80, you get $10 off. I mean, it's just awesome. So the first special that they have here is our our Shaklee Kids Power Pack. This is available the whole month of November. It's Incredibites, it's Mighty Smarts, and it's the Chewable C. All three of those together, and you're going to get all of that. Your members are going to get all of that for $70. And then in addition to that, they are also, and in a couple slides we're going to show you, going to get a little set, a couple little like flyer things in there that's going to be some kids activity sheets, and these are really fun. They kind of remind me of what we see in the restaurants when we need our kids to keep busy, but I think this is fun because they'll have information on there too. It's just a little added love for our customers that will help them get more excited about these products. I have a go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing I love, and I do want to hear your story, Angie, but I love that we are packaging this as for immune health, kind of focusing on this, but this is just a really great basic program. So if our customers start this is a really great thing for their kids to be able to take all the time, not only to have a strong immune system, but just to be able to have great brain health and all of that. So go ahead, Angie, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say I have a customer that had told me, in November, will you call me because I'm going to need to order more Incredibites. So this special came out, perfect timing. I called her. I said, I know you're just interested in the Incredibites, but here's this special. It's such a great way to try these other products. And she's like, you're right. Great, $70, done. And I also think of this $10 off as we can think of it like free shipping. And everyone loves free shipping. So you're going to get $10 off, which covers your shipping. So that's another way to spin it if you think that would help.
Great idea.
That's a great idea.
Thank you. There are.
Good morning,
Barb. We also have a more grown-up immune pack here for November, and this is going to be a little different but also just as awesome. When our customers order the Vitalized Immunity and the Nutriferon, they're going to get the option to add that Defend and Resist for $5, which I think is a fantastic way to try this product, to let our members have this in their cabinets for when they need it. It's a savings of about $12, so that's fantastic. It's way more than shipping. And I think this is just a really great product. This one and the other one, there are item codes for, so take note of that. However, I did notice that when I ordered the kids pack for my customers, I was able to order it, just straight from the page. But I think this immune pack, you absolutely do have to use that item code number.
I'm so glad, Angie, that you said I hadn't read this. I've been promoting this, and this is horrible, but I hadn't really read it all the way through because I thought it was $5 off Defend and Resist, but it's Defend and Resist for $5. So you're right, there is a better. This one's written a little bit differently than the other one, and so it is a great savings. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes, and I do want to also note that this is not available for the business leaders. These are at member prices. But I still, these are just fantastic. $66 for that adult immune. I'm kind of marketing it as the adult immune version. Here's the pictures of the kids, that little superheroes guide that's going to come with the kids pack. I think this is so fun. It's going to help the kiddos get more involved with the products that they're taking. The parents are going to love it. It's just a really fun little added benefit. One more note, personally, I am so excited about these specials that I've made my own personal goal to sell 10 kids packs and 5 immune packs this month. Your goal is maybe more, it may be less, but if I sell 10 of the kids packs, those are 50 PV. That's, I'm sorry, gosh, I just blanked on the math. That's 500 PV right there. And and then, the other one is that's also 50 PV for the immune health. So if I sell 5 of those, that's 250. So if I reach my goal, when I reach my goal, I'm going to have 750 PV just from these packs. So, and awesome. Likely a lot of customers trying new products. So
I love that. And I think
get it,
that,
folks.
Barb, do you know the inside scoop on these worksheets? I think this was Heather Chastain's idea.
Oh, I
don't think so.
Cool
it was. I think Angie
it was.
knows that. She shared that with us at the New Directors Conference, and and I expect that there'll be other things like this coming out. I don't know if it'll be in particular like a workbook for kids or that kind of thing, but she was really excited to do some special promotions and to put fun little things in here. She kind of likened it to a certain fast food restaurant where you get a kids pack and it always has a toy or something, and so she wanted like the Shaklee healthy version, and so this is it.
That's so wonderful. Excellent. Barb, were you going to introduce our special guest this morning, or do you want me to?
Yes.
Okay.
There's Linda, right? Linda, are you there?
Yep.
I am here.
We always feel good when we hear the voice of our special speakers.
I am here.
Linda is at work, and she has taken time to sneak off to chat with us for a couple of minutes. She shared her health story with me a while ago, and I was so touched by what she had gone through until she decided to do more natural approaches. And so I asked her if she would share that, since our collection of products this month are the digestive products, and it's just a good reminder to all of us about how effective our Shaklee products for the digestive system are. So, Linda, I'll turn it over to you, and if you would just tell us a little bit about your health history. What happened to you before you got introduced to Shaklee? Well, what had happened was, and we had heard a story similar to this before with, remember Brittany Williams, and that, she has an executive position at Commonwealth Edison, and she, about starting more than 10 years ago, she started having digestive symptoms, bloating. You can see she listed them here for us, gas, terrible constipation. Okay.
Linda, are you there?
Oh,
can
yes.
you hear me?
Ah, there we go.
We had some issues, but okay, I think we're okay.
Okay, we can hear you now. That's very good. Okay, so
I apologize.
No, go ahead. So tell us about what were your symptoms before you got introduced to Shaklee.
So my symptoms started about 10 to 12 years ago, and basically it was very bad bloating, and the way I could describe it is if you were to put air in a bicycle tire or something, and maybe it didn't necessarily look like that on the outside, but that's what the inside felt like it was ready to pop at any time. Mm-hmm. Extremely bad, like cramping, pains, bad gas, and there were just good days and bad days, and I didn't know exactly, what each day was going to come with.
Mm. Got it. So then what happened then?
I pretty much saw every doctor I possibly could see, and they gave me diagnosis of IBS. All they really wanted me to do was take fiber. But back then, fiber really wasn't my friend because it was causing some of the symptoms. of the bloating and of the gas. And one doctor just said, "Yeah, Linda, you need to eat prunes. That's what I do. You need to eat prunes." I was like, "Okay, prunes, got it." And so I tried all over the counter stuff, you name it. I tried it. I don't even know how many hundreds of dollars I spent on all that crap. And then when obviously everybody knows their body, and I knew something wasn't right, and so I went to a gastroenterologist, and with tears in my eyes, crying, and basically said, you have to check to see if something is the matter. And he did a colonoscopy, and everything came back clean, but I almost felt disappointed that everything was okay, because if something was the matter, all of my frustrations and feelings would have been validated. So I almost felt discouraged because nothing was the matter. And they told me I had a pocket. You have a pocket on your right-hand side. That's all they said, was I have a pocket. Not, we're going to fix it or anything. You just have a pocket. So I was discouraged with that, and I went trying a little more natural route and went and saw a chiropractor, and that was a little helpful. We tried some digestive enzymes and some techniques, but I basically gave up on that because it really wasn't the right fit, and it wasn't really working, and I was just wasting money is really what I was doing. And so that's where I was very sick over the summer, and I was very depressed, and I had pretty much given up all supplements and trying everything, and I said to myself, this is it, and I'm going to let my body heal naturally. Whatever happens, happens. And I remember that Rebecca had posted something on Facebook, and at that time I didn't know exactly what she had posted, but I remember that she did post something. And so I said to myself, I don't care what it is that she posted, but I'm going to try. Exactly, and I want it all today.
And so just a reminder to all of us of the importance of these posts that we put on Facebook, because you never know who needs to see it, who needs to hear the story. That's really important. Okay, so that was this summer. What, around June then? And then what happened?
And that was in June, and Rebecca and I have been friends for a while, and we shared a lengthy conversation, and she explained what Shaklee was to me, and she hooked me up with my products. And so I'm going in on 5 months, and I get kind of emotional talking about it because I'm a totally different person today just from her posting that.
Wow.
So by me sharing, she saved me, and by me sharing, I hope that I can help someone else in return.
Paying it forward, right? So
absolutely.
There's your program right there. Okay. So what did you start with, Linda, in June?
I started on the Life Strip, the Shake, Optiflora, and Alfalfa.
Great program.
Good starting place, right?
And then what happened? You've added a few other things.
Then I was a little intimidated by Herblax at first. I was afraid that I would be like at work and having to run to the bathroom, but Rebecca, told me, like, don't worry, it's okay. And so when I finally got the courage to try it, which anybody out there, don't be afraid, it will become your best friend. It has become truly a saving grace in my life, and now I'm not afraid to incorporate all these other natural products, the omegas, the extra vitamin B, extra vitamin C. I just started, and I'm going to go slowly with the fiber tablets. Barb and I had a nice talk about adding more fiber in my diet, and so I'm going slowly with that. So those just came, and so I have a very big little thing of vitamins that I feel like I'm 100, but I don't really care as long as it's helping me.
Absolutely. And you see, when we work with folks who are in the middle of digestive distress, and doctors say, well, eat more fiber, and which is good. Fiber is good, and water is important, right? The problem is that if we don't have the digestive enzymes to break food down, then it lies anywhere in our gut. It can be up in the stomach, and it can be in the small intestines, it could be in the belly area. And that's where her pain was coming from, is she had all this undigested, partially digested foods, and they were just fermenting.
Correct.
And because nothing was breaking it down, and she'd lost all the peristalsis, that the muscles that move our food along in our digestive tract. And if by any chance any of you missed our call last week that Jean and Angie did, where they went through the details of how our digestive system works and why each of the products that Shaklee has specifically for digestion are so effective, you may want to go back and catch that in archive now, because it is that they did a really good job of understanding that. And see, that's what happened to Linda, is these various people who meant well, but they were just throwing, and you didn't even mention the drugs. Didn't they have you on an acid reflux drug too?
Yeah, I was, because I had a choking episode over the summer, and so I can't think of the name right now, whatever it was on, but it's the prescribed.
Well, you had a spasm in your esophagus, so that
Correct.
She couldn't, when she tried to swallow, all the muscles constricted, and she started to choke, and her husband had to use the Heimlich on her. So the point is, the whole body is reacting because it's so toxic, and so it's just so wonderful for us to hear these stories, because I just saw on TV, I've been watching a lot of TV lately, I know all the ads, and there's some law firm that's bringing a class action suit against Nexium and Prilosec for causing kidney damage. So they were putting out anybody who's used Nexium and has kidney damage, call us, and we'll sue. And I did not know about the kidney damage part of that, but those drugs are serious drugs. So I don't want to keep you from work any longer, and we'll get off on our training. Linda, thanks for joining us and sharing your story.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you for letting me share my story.
Oh, our pleasure. All right, thanks everyone, and Becky, we'll go over to you for a 3, 2, 1.
You bet. 3, 2, 1.